Hi, I'd like to start by pointing out a simple mistake in your video. You said that as far as you can tell, James Randi has been two things in his adult life: an ex-magician and a guy who doubts things. I'm no expert on Randi, but I'd be willing to bet that before he was an ex-magician, he was also a practicing magician. But all jokes aside, I'd like to try to offer a counterpoint of your opinion. About the only thing I'd be willing to concede is that perhaps Randi isn't qualified to be an educator, at least not in some respects. Again, I'm no expert on the man, but he probably doesn't have a degree in any field that would qualify him to teach as such. But to call Randi a second-rate skeptic is quite a claim. I find it hard to fathom him even being called that, when Randi is easily one of the most respected men in the skeptic community. His efforts at simply organizing skeptics and introducing a large number of people to skepticism are simply too much to ignore. The Amazing Meeting is a perfect example of something the JREF put together, a gathering of skeptics and people who would probably much better fit your standard for educator. These people meet every year with the hopes of turning people toward the light and away from the paranormal. I'll also say that Randi's attack on Sylvia Brown is not without warrant. Perhaps he does benefit financially from exposing her as a fraud, but if he can turn people onto the evil in this woman, then he deserves every penny he can get from it. Sylvia Brown is not some simple stage magician, and Randi is not simply a heckler, yelling out how she does tricks while she innocently tries to do her act. Ms. Brown preys upon people who are usually in the position of having lost a loved one or have had some tragic event in their lives. And she charges great deals of money to provide her quote-unquote psychic powers to these people. Powers that any rational, skeptically minded person, and even Ms. Brown herself, knows are fake. Randi's hardly the only person who opposes her on this, and frankly, the only reason he has to keep attacking her is because she keeps popping up. But all that being said, I don't know Randi personally, but I have heard him speak, and I have read and listened to interviews he's given. He may not be accredited in any sense that would enable him to be an educator as you are defining it, but he does hold one thing that allows him to be a great skeptic: a logical and rational mind. And the beauty of it is, just about everybody else does too. Anyone can be a skeptic, and even a great one at that. What sets Randi apart is simply his place in the community. He's an outspoken man who simply isn't afraid to speak out against anyone. A man who brings skeptics together. And finally, a man who, yes, does indeed educate people on the reality of the rational world. Thank you for your time.